Hi guys, Debbie here. I just wanted to show you real quick a couple things about this new file that I just barely put up. First of all, this is an editable vector file, so you can open it in Silhouette. Silhouette will actually open all three of these file types. I'm including a Illustrator file, an EPS, and an SVG. You can open all three of those in Silhouette. Sometimes there are some things that are a little bit weird when it opens, but for the most part, it opens great. The only thing that I noticed that it changed, get rid of that line, was the stroke weight. So the outline around everything is thinner than I originally had intended, but that's an easy fix. When you open it, the whole thing is grouped, and so you can come over here to the line weight and go and bump it up a little bit. There's a couple spots where a thinner line is better. Specifically, you know what, I hate Silhouette. See how it's kind of fuzzy? Illustrator is my go-to, so I'm going to go in here and show you. In the elf, the eyebrows on the elf, if you make those too big, you lose the color in there. So I kept the stroke weight thinner on the eyebrows. And then the flag, I took the stroke weight off of the stars, but you could do a little bit of a stroke and it's okay. But if you have that match the rest of them, which I've been doing at like 1 point, I mean, you'll see what it does. It takes over those stars. So just take note of that some of these parts are better without having the thick outline. Oops, look at that. I didn't have it selected here. Boop. These files are all editable. You can ungroup and get down to the base shapes and drop in patterns. Specifically, where I was thinking that'd be cool to use is for the Easter egg. So let me just show you how this is layered. If you ungroup it, the first ungrouping is going to be the arms and then the shape. If you get in here, ungroup another one. Like here's the RV, it separates the arm for that first time you ungroup it. For the egg, I have the bow in front of the arms, which you could put it the other way around, but I thought it was cuter to see the end of the ribbon hanging down. But the egg itself is one big shape, so if you wanted to drop in a pattern, you know, you could drop in patterns for those as well. The other one that I thought would be a good one, let me group that before I forget, to drop in a pattern would be the star. I think the star would be cute with like something patriotic inside the star instead of just a big gold star. But any of these, there's lots of things you could do if you dropped in some patterns. But the main goal here is that you can use it to make seasonal gnomes here. So all you would do is you change out, you know, the shapes here, and you just line it up with the elbows, and then you have your little gnome. And you just swap out all the pieces. I included just some arms alone, which technically once you hit ungroup, you've got a whole bunch of arms, but I just thought it'd be a little bit easier for you guys if I had them all separated. So I separated out an arm for you. And I included an outline of the whole thing in case you are going to do these for the sublimation blanks on wood with the Glowforge, like the file I did yesterday, or if you wanted to do print and cut for anything else. I thought it would be handy if I gave you a full outline of the whole gnome. But I wanted to show you these little lines right here. If you are going to sublimate onto the Glowforge file, when you load it into your Glowforge, make sure that you ignore some of these, come on, what's the word? The score lines. So actually, I'm going to open that and show you real quick. So the Glowforge file, when you know what, this will be better. Let me go in here. The Glowforge file. Okay, I don't have any wood in here, so it's looking at an empty Glowforge bed. But when you load it into Glowforge over here, you're going to see the two layers. One of them, you can kind of see the nose and stuff. That's the score layer. So it scores all these like little detail lines. And then this other layer is all the cut lines. So if you're going to cut this out for sublimation, ignore the score lines so it only does the outside cut lines. Otherwise, you're going to have all of these little shading lines. Oops, didn't want to move that. All these little, they're called score lines, but in my head I was calling them kind of shading lines, is adding a little bit more detail to it. If you have those engraved in your Glowforge file or scored, then you're going to have bumps in your actual sub blank. So if you're going to use it for sublimation, make sure you hit ignore on the score lines. But I going off on a tangent here. The main reason why I wanted to do this little video is if you want to resize the gnome and make sure that all the pieces still fit exactly how they should when you line it up. Like let's say we want, right now I have it saved as 6 inches, but let's say we wanted to do an 8-inch gnome. If you just select all of them and you start dragging the corner or whatever, you're not going to get an accurate representation of the size. If you want to size it to 8 inches, what you want to do is take all of the shapes and make them smaller than the height of the gnome. So this is how I've been doing it. They're all grouped. I make sure I regrouped these. Hold on. These are all grouped, so if you move them around, it's not a big deal, okay? Including the hands. These should already be the same height. So we have 6 inches and 6 inches, which if you were in silhouette, same thing. You gotta ungroup though. Oh, and see, this is why I don't use silhouette. See, I'm just trying to ungroup it and it lags. If you click on it, now, okay, it says 6.002, and I don't know if that's the outline or whatever. It's a little tiny bit bigger. But if you wanted to resize it, you can come over here and put in the new dimensions, but then you have all of these other pieces that aren't the same size. So how you resize it so that they all stay the same size is select all of them and then center them to the middle like that. Now your height works. See the 6 inches up here? So if you make sure that the constrained proportions or lock aspect ratio is turned on, so for silhouette, it's this little lock right here. And this should be very similar in whatever program you're using, but you line them all up to the middle. And then, oh, see, now I don't know if silhouette's going to be as smart. It might not let us resize all of them in here. Well, let's try it. Nope. Okay, so silhouette might be a little bit trickier, but Illustrator, this is my little trick, how I've been doing it every time I wanted to save it as a different size. If you center them all in the middle, so the biggest part is the gnome's actual body, you can come up here and change it to 8 inches, and it'll resize all of them for you to 8 inches. And then you can, this is what I was doing, is just grab each one again and separate them out. And then you can hit save as if you want and save this so it's already sized for you in a different size or whatever. But that's how I've been resizing them so you don't mess up the other ones. As far as silhouette goes, if it's not going to let us do that, you can see it. See, I like just typing it in, but apparently it's not. Oh, maybe if I group it. Hold on. Oh, that may have just fixed it. Lock. There we go. There. group it, and then it'll let you resize it with typing it in. What I was going to say is if it doesn't let you do that, you could see the size over here. You could just drag it out. Just make sure you grab a corner and not a side, because the side warps it. You know, we're going to make fat gnomes. If you want it to be the size and shape it's supposed to be, make sure you don't warp it at all. But anyway, that's the lowdown on this design I made. I just wanted to show you a couple little things about it to make sure that we don't foul anything up. But if you decide to get the sublimation blanks that Heather's setting up in her Etsy shop right now to cut for these, she'll do it without those score lines like I had mentioned to do. But she's going to do, I'm guessing she'll do the 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch like she's doing for the other ones. And then just skip the score lines. So when you want to match the blank that you receive from her, you just do the same thing that I just said. So you just grab them all and change the height all at once. So you've got the right size to match for everything. But other than that, it should be pretty simple. So anyway, if I missed anything or something is confusing or whatever, as always, just let me know. I'll fix it. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, so I just realized one thing that I didn't show you, and this is like a serious life hack. It won't work with Silhouette, and I'm sorry I don't know anything about Inkscape or GIMP. I'm very much an Adobe addict, and that's what I've been using forever and ever. But in Illustrator, if you want to change the color of the gnome's clothes, so you'd have to ungroup every single one of these to get down to the actual clothes color, or if you double click, it puts it in isolation mode. You can keep double clicking to get down to the arms and select both. And then you hit escape to get out of isolation mode. But if you want to change the color of all of the gnome's arms and clothes at once, there's a magic wand tool up here in your toolbar. If it's not there, I'm sure you can get it if you come into Windows somewhere and find the properties, but it should be up here. If you click on that and then double click and check your tolerance here, all that really matters is that we have the tolerance. I always just leave it at 1 because then you're grabbing the same, actually you could do 0. So it's grabbing the same exact color, and you don't even need to worry about the stroke weight. We're just worried about the fill color. So if you have that set to like 1 or 0, and then you select, like just click anywhere on the gray, it's going to grab that exact gray through the whole document without having to ungroup it. And then you could just go bloop and change the colors. Total vital time-saving hack right there. Then you don't have to ungroup and select and do all sorts of crap. You just use the little magic wand tool and grab them all at once, and you could change them all at once. So anyway, I wanted to show you that, and I missed it when I first hit record. So I'm adding this to the end.